Welcome to this explainer. Today we're dissecting a corporate failure that is, frankly, mind-boggling. It's a disaster that cost a massive financial tech firm dearly, and we are jumping into the story right in the middle of a completely panicked Monday morning. It's a fascinating, real-world look at exactly what happens when spreadsheets collide with reality. I am super excited to break this down for you, so let's just dive right in.
So you really have to ask yourself, how does a massive financial firm lose 5 years of critical transaction data in literally 10 seconds? Picture this scene. The brand new director of cost optimization, a guy named David, is just sweating through his designer shirt. Every single corporate terminal at headquarters is turning blue, flashing this irreversible, fatal database error. He is practically begging the man who built the system to fix it. But that man, he just packs his keyboard into his backpack, zips it up, and walks right out the front door. To understand how we got to this wild exit, we have to look at the anatomy of a truly spectacular management failure.
Section 1. The Catalyst. The Cost Optimization Trap.
To understand how this tech thriller actually unfolded, we need to rewind about 4 weeks and look at a pretty stark contrast in talent. On one side, we have Arthur. For 6 years, this guy didn't just maintain the servers, he practically lived and breathed them. He sacrificed weekends patching vulnerabilities, took those dreaded 2 a.m. emergency calls, and most importantly, he built their incredibly fragile, meticulously optimized ledger system entirely from scratch. He had that deep, intuitive architectural knowledge of every single line of code. And on the other side, we have the replacement. A team of offshore junior developers with absolutely zero contextual knowledge of this specific, quirky architecture. But David, our new corporate hatchet man, decided to replace Arthur with this remote team for one very simple reason.
And that reason was just math. 1/5. David proudly bragged to the executives that this new team was going to cost only 1/5 of Arthur's salary. On paper, sure, he's slashing budgets and looking like an absolute genius. But in reality, he was completely ignoring the insanely complex nature of the technology he was supposed to be managing.
In a brutal 30-second Friday morning meeting, David drops this absolute gem of a quote on Arthur. He literally looks at him and says, "It's just code. Anyone can run it." Then he slaps Arthur with a strict 30-day ultimatum. Hand over all master passwords, all documentation, and all procedures to this remote team, or get fired for cause and lose your severance in healthcare. I mean, wow, right? Facing that kind of staggering disrespect, Arthur just smiles calmly, agrees, and starts the knowledge transfer.
Section 2. The Architecture. The Silent Security Tripwire.
So, Arthur plays along. He outwardly complies and hands over the standard user guides. But here's David's fatal flaw. He never actually bothered to read the technical documentation. If he had, he would have learned about the localized maintenance validation script. You see, Arthur engineered a brilliant, unforgiving failsafe into this ledger system to protect financial data from external ransomware. It specifically required a manual, physical cryptographic key check from Arthur's exact local office desktop every single Monday morning. This essentially built the perfect automated trap. If the system didn't get that local key check, and anyone from an unauthorized external IP address tried to mess with the core tables, the trap springs shut. Step 1. Detect the unauthorized external IP. Step 2. Immediately assume it is a hostile cyber attack. Step 3. Aggressively protect the client assets by encrypting the master keys, isolating the servers, and just completely wiping the active runtime cache. It was like a massive digital vault, slamming its doors shut in an instant. Now here is the kicker. Once that lockdown triggered, the entire company was locked out. The absolute only way to restore the system after this purge was through the primary root backup. And where was that? Well, Arthur kept it safely on an offline, air-gapped physical tape drive. Basically, a digital safety deposit box disconnected from any network, sitting securely inside his personal, locked office cabinet. A cabinet that, you guessed it, only Arthur had the physical key to.
Section 3. The Trigger. The Inevitable Lockdown.
Okay, let's fast forward 4 weeks. Arthur finishes his transition, hands over the basic credentials, and goes home to enjoy a very relaxing weekend. Meanwhile, let's track the Monday morning meltdown, because it escalates ridiculously fast. Right at 8 a.m., following David's brilliant orders to optimize performance, the remote team logs in from overseas and tries to overwrite core storage parameters. Because Arthur isn't sitting at his desk to provide that local validation, the system instantly assumes it's a malicious breach and locks everything down. By 8:15 a.m., David is making his first desperate phone call to Arthur.
By 8:30, he's left 5 frantic voicemails. And by 8:45 a.m., the panic is bubbled all the way up to the top, and the CEO of Vertex Financial is calling Arthur directly. Just 45 minutes from a cost-saving triumph to an absolute burning catastrophe.
The CEO is calling Arthur in a total panic, laying out the grim reality. He says the company is literally hemorrhaging millions of dollars every single minute. The remote team is totally locked out, and David, desperately trying to cover his own tracks, is frantically accusing Arthur of intentionally sabotaging the servers before he left.
But Arthur? He's probably just sipping coffee on his porch. He commonly lays out his defense, pointing out that he didn't sabotage a thing. First off, he gave the remote team the full operational access David demanded. Second, David intentionally chose to fire the literal only person who knew how to run the weekly localized security compliance protocols. And third, the system merely did exactly what it was programmed to do. It protected itself from unauthorized remote modifications because it thought it was under attack. Arthur then politely reminds the CEO that since his contract ended, he no longer has legal access to the building or those backup tapes.
Section 4, the resolution, also known as the $150,000 consultation fee.
Completely desperate to stop the bleeding, the CEO begs Arthur to fix it. This leads to an incredibly tense emergency video conference where Arthur knows he holds literally all the cards. He firmly establishes his leverage by laying out his very strict terms. He will return to unlock his old cabinet and run the recovery script, but only as an independent consultant for exactly 1 day. He demands a signed liability waiver so they can't blame him for the remote team's mess, and most importantly, he demands a flat fee payable immediately via wire transfer.
And I want you to really think about this number, $150,000. That was the price for Arthur's 1-day consulting return. David, clearly still not grasping the gravity of his own massive blunder, actually screams that this is extortion.
But the CEO goes absolutely ballistic on David. He turns his fury on him and delivers this devastating line. Your cost-saving genius just cost this company 10 times your annual salary in a single morning. The CEO instantly agrees to Arthur's terms, and with that one sentence, David is effectively fired for his gross negligence, completely exposed for creating a catastrophic financial liability.
About 15 minutes later, the wire transfer clears. Arthur drives to the office in his comfortable, casual clothes. He strolls right past David, who is silently packing his belongings into a sad little cardboard box. Arthur calmly unlocks his old storage locker, pulls out the air-gapped backup tape, pops it into the server rack, and runs the recovery script. Within 30 minutes, the whole multi-million-dollar crisis is just over. The entire system is back online and running perfectly. Arthur smiles at the CEO, grabs his backpack, and walks out for the final time.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought to ponder. When you replace the person who built the foundation of your entire operation, are you really saving money, or are you just giving away the keys to your kingdom? This story brilliantly highlights the true hidden cost of corporate hubris. It's a huge reminder that institutional knowledge, that deep, nuanced understanding of how things actually work beneath the surface, isn't just a line item on a spreadsheet you can delete. It's the very foundation of your security and success. Disrespect the architect at your own peril. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep seeking out the knowledge that truly matters.